Chikorita and Bayleaf, the leaf Pokemon, and Meganium, the herb Pokemon. Welcome everyone, I'm Exceptional and I hope you are too. In this video we will be seeing how quickly I can defeat Pokemon FireRed, including the Round 2 Elite Four, using only my starter. Without diving into the methodology again too much at the start of the video, I wanted to thank all of you for your input along the way. The format moving forward will be that in the first runs I will run with perfect 31 IVs but the same move restrictions until level 100. My second playthroughs will remain unchanged, going all out for the fastest time, but now with the inclusion of a single egg move, aiming to unify my content. Once we evolve into our final form, Chikorita will be growing a glorious petal mane, so I choose the nickname Hibiscus because that's what it looks like, I think? Flowers, not my area of expertise. As a monograss type, we will be having, in theory, a reasonably straightforward early game, but in Viridian Forest there's a bit of a problem before we can even make it to Brock. At the end of the forest lies the mandatory bug catcher Sammy. His level 9 Weedle is actually kind of a threat. We're weak to the poison type, and my poison luck pretty much requires being poisoned on the first turn every time. I choose to face Anthony along the way because his team of 2 Caterpies should level us up to 8 going over the next damage rounding threshold. In the battle itself, I get super lucky with Weedle going mostly for string shot and I get a critical hit. Poison Sting is still doing 7 damage, so we survive 4 shots from him, but that's without adding potential poison damage. While at level 8, we took 4 shots to bring him down, including the critical. Well, that's done at least. Let's check out Brock. For Hibiscus today, Weedle is going to be more threatening than Rock Gyarados. Nope, tried it. I will not be shaming Gyarados' good name again. Level 8 gave us the damage to deal with Weedle, but it also allowed us to learn Razor Leaf, which honestly is pretty amazing this early. We one-shot Geodude with Stab, or same type attack bonus, 4 times super effective damage, and Onix falls just as easily. We healed more from leveling up than we took damage in that battle. The next section is business as usual, grabbing the Persimberry on the way into Mount Moon. After taking a moment to consider our late game coverage, I've decided to keep Hibiscus as a mixed attacker, going for a neutral nature. I didn't feel confident in reducing any of our stats. On the way through the cave, we level up to 16 and evolve into our second stage. All of our base stats increase by roughly 15. I really don't know what else to say here. I just wanted to add in words so that I could play this evolution scene for a little bit longer. Cool. On the other side of the cave, I make sure to grab... Oh, 1 second while I heal here. This is why I'm perpetually scared of poison. I grab the Dome Fossil. Usually when getting to Cerulean, I go after Rival 2 first, but I'm kinda thinking that Misty's got nothing on us. Before starting the battle, I defeated both trainers in her gym. That wasn't for Misty, but for Rival 2. Our grass typing does wonders for us again here, one-shotting Staryu, and then after missing a Razor Leaf twice in a row, we bring down Starmie in 2 more shots. Oh, accuracy. This run was not kind to my patience with accuracy. That's 2 badges, now let's check out Rival 2. I feel like I'm slowly becoming more aware of how this AI operates. Back in my Spheal video, I found that when I used Defense Curl against Pidgeotto, it would sit there spamming Sand Attack. At level 12, we learned Reflect, reducing physical damage that we take by half, and it seems to have the same effect that Defense Curl had. Pidgeotto fully spams out 6 Sand Attacks before then taking us out with Stab, super effective Gusts, while we miss. After 4 resets, I've stopped going for Reflect, instead going all in with Razor Leaf as it's doing slightly more damage than Tackle. It's still not a great result, but hey, at least we get taken out by Charmander this time. That's, progress? I have to take a moment to complain about this design choice for a moment. Why are there these one-way ledges outside of Mount Moon? As a result of them, I can't go back to face trainers. In fact, I have only one option, grinding in this grass. My favorite. Well, at least we're soaking up attack EVs from the Ekans. 7 minutes after our first attempt, we're now level 23 over the next damage rounding threshold. I've also learned something else though, Synthesis. Pidgeotto gets in 2 Sand Attacks again, because of course he does, but against Charmander, despite knocking him into Blaze range, powering up his Embers, the healing provided by Synthesis allows us enough recovery to regain control and bring him down. I did start getting pretty nervous against Rattata, but after 3 misses in a row, we finally connect and end the battle. Alright, let's shake it off, and keep moving. I make sure to grab TM43 Secret Power to replace Tackle, then do a little bit of additional item collection on the SSN. I want to grab Rest for sure. Meganium should be bulky enough to make good use of it. I'm, of course, grabbing all of the berries that I can as well. One thing that I learned in this playthrough is that Hibiscus here could always use more berries. Against Rival 3, we're at a proportionally higher level to the last battle. The biggest game changer though is that our most powerful move against him is no longer resisted. Secret Power is a base 70 power normal move with a 30% chance for a secondary effect. I use a Synthesis after defeating Charmeleon because Raticate can be quite nasty with Hyper Fang. We're then ready to jump into our next gym leader battle, Lieutenant Surge. The grass typing is going to be beneficial once again for us. We won't be hitting for super effective damage this time, but we will be resisting his electric type moves. I have a Cherry Berry equipped, though in hindsight it might have been a wiser decision to save this. This battle isn't super threatening to Hibiscus at the end of the day. Secret Power continues doing work, bringing down his entire team with ease, off to the mid-game. On the way through Rock Tunnel after defeating Hiker Dudley, we level up to 32, evolving into our final form, Meganium. With another flat boost of 20 to every stat, we're now all powered up and ready to rock. Rock. Gosh, I wish I had a rock move. I grabbed TM27 Return from the gatehouse south of Lavender on the other side, but I'll be keeping Body Slam for a little while longer. I feel like we may enjoy that status condition more than the additional power. For now, anyway. There isn't really much to say in this section. As a third stage Pokemon, Hibiscus is quite powerful, and I doubted that we were going to encounter any significant resistance until later in the gym challenge. How naive I was. I always forget that for how powerful grass types can feel at the start of the game, there are a lot of upcoming battles that are not going to be very friendly. I make sure to grab the coin case as well, we're going to be needing it later. Unfortunately. It was also in this moment that I realized Hibiscus's name was way out of alignment, so I fixed that up quickly as well. Our next leader is Erica. Shut your eyes, kids, it's time for some grass-on-grass action, but our Gen 2 starter as a monograss type lacks Bulbasaur's poison typing. This complicates things a bit. I have a Cherry Berry equipped, taking out Victory Bell in 2 while she activates that berry. Tangela falls shortly after, but made sure to poison us along the way. I tried my best to hold on, but Vileplume's stab, super effective acid, plus the poison damage is just too much. It's the same against Victory Bell in the next attempt, but this time against Tangela, I decided to set up a Reflect to attempt to reduce Vileplume's damage output. It certainly helps that we weren't poisoned again. This time, with that little bit of added control, Hibiscus smashes through her ace. The bad news is, it's only going to get worse from here. Our next major battle is Rival 4 in Pokemon Tower. We had access to this against Erica, but I didn't mention it. I sometimes refer to Secret Power in FireRed as Discount Body Slam. At level 31, we learned Actual Body Slam, increasing our damage output slightly. Our coverage at the moment is only normal and grass, but it's working. The upper floors of the tower, though, are a firm reminder that we have ghost poison types to deal with in the leagues. Rival 4 falls, and we're off to Sylph. I decided against doing a full item collection. Worst case, they're still sitting here if we need them later. Instead, I'm knocking out an extra trainer or two, hoping to be level 40 before the Rival 5 battle. Let's take a quick second to consider our upcoming battles. Koga, full of poison types, Sabrina, who's gated behind Rival 5's Charizard, and if we manage to defeat Koga, all we have to look forward to is Blaine's fire types. Oh boy. Let's check out how that battle against the Charizard goes first, shall we? I can't discount Pidgeot either, we're weak to the flying type as well. We've taken down Bird Brains, but we're pretty beat up already, leveling to 31 and learning Light Screen. I couldn't figure out how I wanted to play this. I want Light Screen for this battle and Blaine, but I want Reflect for Koga, and I'm unwilling to part with any of my other current moves. I taught Light Screen over Reflect, testing things out against Charizard. Despite the damage reduction and healing from Synthesis, he is just way too powerful right now. That felt gross, so I head down Cycling Road instead. After leveling to 41 this time, I elect to not teach Light Screen, as we can get a copy of the TM from the department store. The absolute worst case scenario would be that we have to go get some mushrooms for the move relearner on 2 Island. I definitely want Reflect for Koga. In the Safari Zone, I also make sure to grab TM11 Sunny Day. It's going to be playing a vital role in our Round 1 League strategy. With that said, let's see how Koga goes. I mentioned a second ago how our coverage was normal in grass. That means that against Koga we're either using neutral or resisted moves, and frankly, our damage output is quite underwhelming. It certainly doesn't help that Coughing gets a critical hit turn 1, and against Muck we hit a total wall. Minimize plus acid armor plus hyper potions? Not great for us. After a few more resets, I did more grinding, leveling up to 43. How did that change things? Well, including some outstanding luck, we've made it all the way to his Ace Wheezing this time in good shape. But we have some bad news bears here. Even with all of that, it's smoke screens, poison damage, and Koga's liberal use of hyper potions that result in another failed attempt. How did those additional levels help against Rival 5? Well, not at all. I'm not gonna lie, I was already feeling a little defeated about this run at this point. I left again, grinding all the way up to 48 before re-attempting. Oh wow, no way. Charizard goes for Scary Face first, hitting a single flamethrower, while on the second last turn we paralyze, allowing us to move first and bring him down. Finally! Okay, let's finish this battle, but not in the way that I was hoping for. The paralysis from Exeggcute does exactly what it needed to, cutting down our consistency and speed low enough that Gyarados slowly whittles us down. Maybe Koga with the additional levels? Body Slam still won't one-shot Coughing, but at this level we're finally able to bring down Muck in 2 shots, barring him using Acid Armor. Even more beneficial though is that we're now able to bring down Wheezing in 3 turns. In fact, things are going almost identically to the last Koga attempt, but this time with our little bit of additional damage we have enough to mitigate the number of incoming turns that we suffer. Sweet! That is one hurdle dealt with. The nice thing about opening up Cinnabar Island now that we have access to Surf, which by the way I'm using the gift Eevee from Celadon Condominiums for again, thank you all for your tips and tricks in the comment section. Anyway, I'm not feeling fantastic about pitting Hibiscus against the Protector of the Volcano badge, but we've opened up a lot of areas to grind in should we need to. The water surrounding Cinnabar has plenty of Goldines and Seekings for more attack EVs. My round 2 plan involves physical attack, but upon reviewing this run, it was definitely in round 1 that I needed more support. In the Pokemon Mansion, I almost leave without grabbing TM22 Solar Beam. We do learn it naturally, but I'm thinking that we're gonna need it before level 61. What the heck, let's see how Blaine goes. To be honest, better than I expected. I mean, we're gonna lose, but the ability to recover with Synthesis is incredibly powerful. Unfortunately, it isn't enough to keep us afloat, but I've already discussed my screen quandary earlier. Without Koga in our way anymore, I can now teach Light Screen to mitigate this fire damage and Rival 5s, so I went back to Celadon to the roof of the department store to grab the TMs. I decided to grab all 3, Light Screen, Safeguard, and Reflect, since we're here already anyway. I figured while I was in the neighborhood, I'd just pop back to try out that Rival 5 with our fancy new move. It seems that my brain might have been a touch scrambled at the time, not using Light Screen at all in the first attempt after teaching it. Ironically enough, on the next attempt, I do use Light Screen, and we end up not needing it because Charizard is far more focused on Scary Face and Smoke Screen while the screen is up. I wonder if I'm going to be able to exploit that knowledge at some point in the future. Mwahahaha. Sorry, I'm just a little overly excited to see this run finally start progressing again. Let's face Sabrina. Not only is the run progressing, but we also now get to see a battle where Hibiscus feels strong again. Against Sabrina, we have plenty of bulk to outlast her psychic types, and finally not having that poison type is useful. Apparently not though, as Sabrina's team doesn't land a single shot against us with Body Slam flattening them all. Well, that's 6 badges, but now we're forced back to considering that Blaine problem. I'm back there immediately after, but this is our first time attempting Blaine with Light Screen. I set it up immediately against Growlithe, having the incoming Fire Blast. Unless, of course, he crits, also burning, and brings us down on the next turn. Right. I mentioned our bulk against Sabrina, and it really reveals itself when we see what an effectively neutral Fire Blast does to us, this time without the critical. Also, I did leave once again to level up one last time to 53 over the next damage rounding threshold. A great thing about Fire Blast is that it only has 5 power points. Granted, so does Synthesis, but with our screen up, it's taking him 2 turns to deal the amount of damage that we can heal when his Arcanine hits the field. Including 2 misses, I stall out those 5 PP, and Arcanine goes from the OG legendary Fire Doggo to a far less threatening puppy that can't really dish out much damage to us. Shortly after, we can end the battle, netting our second last badge. I have a round 2 finish in mind, so it's off to the Sevi Islands to help out Bill next. The good news is that we now have the toughest portions of the gym challenge behind us. The final leader shouldn't prove to be too much of an issue, but with that league looming, I really need to think about my strategy. It's Agatha's ghosts that I was most concerned with, as our only options that hit her are Iron Tail, which we are a little ways from affording after buying vitamins, or resisted grass moves. I'm a little worried. But Agatha wasn't the only trouble that we're about to face. I was feeling that I definitely would want every rare candy that I could get my hands on flying back to Fuchsia now that I have my strength user to grab the candy out of the warden's house. This was a good call. Alright, Giovanni time. I did not do any additional grinding in this gym, heading straight for him. I don't really have much to say here, to be honest. I put my cursor on Razor Leaf and hit A until we won the battle. Getting Razor Leaf at level 8 was insanely good. We finished the gym challenge at just under an hour and 30 minutes, with only 1 trainer left standing between us and the Pokemon League. Rival 6's strategy reflects the same one that we used against Rival 5. Take out Bird Brains, set up a light screen against Charizard, and hope that he doesn't crit. He's still using Flamethrower, so we have no shot to stall him out like we did with Blaine. He takes us to low red bar, 11 hit points, but there goes the biggest threat on his team. He did lower our accuracy though, and with Execute paralyzing us again, Hibiscus did struggle a bit here, but we're victorious in the end. Synthesis, what a lifesaver. And before we jump into the leagues, we're gonna make it just that little bit stronger. Let's check it out. First off, no fancy intros for the leagues in this video. They're at the top of my priority list to redo this year because I was really over the hard opening and repetitive music. One thing at a time, right? I've kept our existing set against her in this first attempt. As the Ice-type trainer, Lorelei has a type advantage over us, but because this is a Gen 1 remake, most of her team shares the Water type, so Razor Leaf does great for us again. Despite our fantastic recovery, we end up losing the upper hand and being taken out. Alright, pause. For those of you keeping up with my posts, this is the point last week that I crashed out while writing this script. I spent 4 days horizontal and then 1 day setting myself up for this week. Thank you to everyone for your support and understanding. I do apologize that I had to delay this video. The fire inside of me is roaring again. Let's kick some goals. Before we do though, I need to rework this moveset a little bit. This right here is almost peak Hibiscus synergy. The only thing that would make it better would be our hidden ability in Gen 5, Leaf Guard, which would also prevent status in sunny weather. Sunny Day makes our stab solar beams no longer take a turn to charge, but it helps us defensively as well. It increases the healing of Synthesis from half to 2/3 while the sun is shining. I set up the sun as I need to, carving through her team with Stab's super effective solar beams. I have a little trouble against Lapras with her hanging on by a thread every shot, but the incredible recovery afforded to us by sun-boosted Synthesis keeps us healthy. Jinx falls to a body slam, and then Cloyster in the back is an easy cleanup. That's 1 league member down. Against Bruno, with our overall bulk and ability to recover, I felt quite safe in taking a Rock Tomb from Onyx as I set up the Sunlight. He ends up missing, so that's perfect. Hitmonchan doesn't miss Rock Tomb, but we're at 107 speed, so we'll still outspeed Machamp and Onyx too. Stab, single turn solar beams, plus all of the recovery in the world lead us to a first try victory against the Elite Hiker. But this moveset is a little bit concerning leading into our next battle. Agatha is the Ghost-type trainer, so of course because Gen 1, her entire team is Poison-type. That makes our Solar Beams less effective, and our Body Slams can't hit the Ghosts. Uh-oh. The only other solution that I saw in our moveset was Iron Tail, but we don't have the cash for it right now. Gengar defeats us without breaking a sweat. My strategy does not evolve over time in this battle because we really only have one: hit, recover, and hope. In hindsight, I could have grabbed the Miracle Seed from the game corner for a little bit of additional grass damage. Instead, I've dipped into my rare candies using 6 and leveling up to 70 over 3 damage rounding thresholds. This gives us the ranges that we need to be slightly more effective, and including the recovery once again from Synthesis, that little bit of additional damage and bulk sees us through the battle. Lance poses a massive threat to us. We're gonna have to rely more on Body Slam to get through his dragons. This round 1 league is honestly so much more challenging for Hibiscus, as between leagues we're gonna gain access to something that absolutely changes the game. I've been glossing over a lot of resets in this league, focusing instead on my successes and learning. We feel fairly solid, but 24 out of 60 of those resets are from this league so far. Our damage output against Lance's Ace Dragonite is so lackluster, while his stab, super effective wing attacks are putting on some serious hurt. That's another reset. I kept trying, looking for alternative ways of thinking or strategies, but what ends up giving us a successful attempt is when Dragonite simply made worse move choices. When he mixes in the odd Hyper Beam and especially Outrage, we're in so much better shape. Hyper Beam, after all, takes an extra turn to recharge and does less damage than Wing Attack here, with an effective power of 150 instead of 180. Once Dragonite is out of the way, only the less threatening Dragonairs in the back remain, and we have a fairly easy time clearing them out as well. Whew, all that remains is the round 1 champion. Here we have a big problem. Our issues with the rival battle in the latter half of the game have been pretty much solved exclusively by Light Screen having the damage of Charizard's fire moves. Sunny Day, on the other hand, doubles that power. We're about to see some resets. A lot of them. Especially when Pidgeot goes for Sand Attack. I was not willing to deal with that. After a few more attempts, I tried teaching Return over Body Slam, hoping that the additional damage output might give us an edge. I'm gonna let you know right now, it helps, but we're still a long ways off of a victory. Here is a quick little montage of me trying and failing to find something positive in this battle, something that I could use. This Pidgeot-Charizard combo is a nasty one to deal with right now, and anytime Pidgeot uses Feather Dance, that's an instant reset. No way we defeat Charizard with our attack reduced. It's funny, you know, accuracy has been a common theme just messing up my run, but it seems that the AI never misses Fire Blasts. I'm getting flashbacks to Parasect versus Charizard. I'll show you that run eventually. After all of the resets, I was very frustrated. This first playthrough was recorded before my, break. Let's call it a break, sure, and my mental capacity was definitely waning faster than it normally would. This is my last legitimate attempt at level 73 after using every last rare candy I had with me. But what's this? Charizard misses and we take him down? Yes, let's go Hibiscus! We're through Alakazam, there shouldn't be too much else that's a massive problem for us, but Exeggutor. The grass mirror match, including the special defense drop from Alakazam, proves to be too much and we faint again? Come on! Frustrated, exasperated, exhausted. I cheated in some rare candies. I only ended up needing 2 to find a successful battle. Oh, but not before a few more resets. That attempt that was laid low by the palm tree did finally see a Fire Blast mist after all. Level 75 gives us the damage range that we need for a fairly consistent 2-shot against Charizard, but we need him to cooperate just a little bit, man. In our 25th attempt of the round 1 champion battle, we finally see success. Charizard didn't miss Fire Blast, but we can 2-shot now, and that's what was separating us from the win before. 2 turns, we've got. 3, we're done for. Our ranges are better against Exeggutor as well, ending him in short order, and finally cleaning up the champions team. For how well the grass type does in the early game, it sure gets punished in the latter sections of the game. For round 2 though, Hibiscus has an ace up its pedals. Hibiscus clocks in with a round 1 time of 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 23 seconds at level 75 with 87 resets. This took 5 hours and 11 minutes of game time and 2 cheated rare candies. Between the leagues, along with completing the Sevi Island plotline, I have 3 other chores that I want to complete. First and foremost, I'm grabbing the leftovers using the item finder. Then, after finishing the Sevi Islands before leaving them, I head over to 7 Island. Here, on the bridge heading south out of town, is a move tutor that will teach us Swords Dance. This move is going to make our round 2 league significantly different to round 1. Finally, to round things out, I need to be able to hit those darn ghosts, stopping in at Celadon to purchase TM23 Iron Tail from the Game Corner now that we can afford it. I don't like the 75% accuracy, but hey, what other option do we have? Let's jump into round 2. It was a somewhat difficult choice to make when determining which move to replace with Swords Dance. Our other moves come in TM form, but Swords Dance we need to teach from the tutor. I chose to get rid of Synthesis, feeling that Sunny Day and Solar Beam would carry me through Lorelei's battle again. I was correct. The reality is, as I demonstrated against Dugong, that +2 return would also do quite well here. I just wanted one last hurrah for Solar Beam. I felt comfortable deleting Synthesis because the recovery afforded to us from leftovers is gonna be great. Let's hope that I don't end up regretting that. Just before the Bruno battle, it's time to finish that rework. One last hurrah indeed. Our moveset is now going to be Return, Earthquake, Iron Tail, and Swords Dance. This will hopefully give us all of the oomph that we need to succeed in this second league. At 199 speed, I can confidently lose a single stage of speed in this battle and still feel okay about it. As it turns out though, Steelix seems dead set on using Iron Tail. I'm wondering if this has something to do with wanting to reduce our defense because Steelix 2 comes out right after looking to do the same. I set up 2 SDs between them and then sweep Bruno's team. He wasn't too much of a threat in the last league, it's true, but it really builds some confidence to see a completely reworked moveset work this well. Agatha, though, usually feels like a gamble. Even more so today, since our only move that hits her ghost types is Iron Tail. Mold Breaker Meganium when? I was tempted to swap out our held item to a Lumberry, but I felt that the overall recovery from leftovers would suit us better. Hibiscus does have decent bulk after all. I set up 2 SDs between her League Gengar and Arbok, and that's all we needed to sweep through her team. We don't get put to sleep or confused very much, and Iron Tail hits true enough times that we have a first attempt victory. On to Lance. Lance's lead Gyarados lives to paralyze you. This usually means one of 3 things at the start of the battle. Wear a Cherry Berry and have a plan to eliminate Gyarados, or take the paralysis and slowly watch yourself faint over time. Well, neither of those 2 are going to be very great for us, but the third option gives us a great way to set up and avoid paralysis. Iron Tail would only really be necessary for Aerodactyl from this point on, so I opt to teach Rest over it and give Hibiscus a Chesto Berry. Good old Resto-Chesto strats allow us to set up twice against Gyarados before dropping him, and then a third time against Kingdra after we rest, triggering the berry and fully curing us. Then it's Sweep City against the remainder of Lance's team, with Aerodactyl managing to cling on by a sliver. We managed to bring him down as well. By the way, we're only 6 points slower, but that concludes the threat of Lance. His last 2 Dragonites fall to +5 returns, and we're already ready to face the Round 2 champion. With the power of a boosting move, Swords Dance on our side, Round 2 has been significantly easier to our struggles in Round 1. The champion, though, brings a unique team composition against us. And here I was thinking that Bird Brains was a big threat. Check out Heracross. Return does about half, while he responds with a stab super effective Mega Horn for around 3/4 of our health. If I go for +2 at the start and then the knockout, we still are not going to see success. It does more damage, sure, but nowhere near what we need for a knockout. Mega Horn, another 85% accurate move that fails to miss from the champion, is just too menacing a threat, and that's discounting his other moves like Rock Tomb, which would be arguably even worse. Losing 1 stage of speed makes us slower than Heracross, Alakazam, and worst of all, Charizard. We're about to see what a battle with that 1 stage of speed being lost looks like. Another bit of nastiness is that in between Heracross and Charizard, it seems that the champion is going to send out the Gen 2 Pseudo, Tyranitar. His ability Sandstream sets up a Sandstorm, effectively cancelling the recovery that we receive from leftovers. Being outsped by Charizard and anywhere under 3/4 health means that if he doesn't miss, we don't win. Rest isn't really doing much for us in this battle, and the hits that we're taking are so massive that the recovery from Rest honestly isn't doing much for us, as we're pretty much in range of getting 2-shot no matter what. I still had my copy of TM33 Reflect bouncing around in my bag, replacing Rest with it. This will mitigate the incoming damage from Heracross, but even so, at +2, Return is not getting the job done, exposing us to too much threat. The solution became aim for a lucky outcome against Heracross. In order to get a more favorable range, I used 2 more of those Cheaty Rare candies, now a total of 4 between both leagues, bringing us to 83 over the next damage rounding threshold. Then it was a case of waiting for Heracross to mess up. Well, really mess up. In this battle, he misses Mega Horn and Rock Tomb, with me missing the range again and setting up to +4 while he heals. Now at +4 with our speed intact, we should be good? And we sure are. From that point forward, the battle is a series of one-shots while outspeeding. It's unfortunate to get to this battle after using the other 2 rare candies. If I'd had this level of luck at level 81, we would have been successful, but oh well. I already know what I'm doing with my second playthrough after all. The round 2 champion falls, Hibiscus has done it. I want you to consider the sticking points that we had. What opponents gave us the most problems? What offensive typing do you think is going to solve most of them? Hibiscus clocks in with a round 2 time of 2 hours, 33 minutes, and 36 seconds at level 83 with 95 resets. This took 6 hours and 19 minutes of game time and a total of 4 cheated rare candies. In the second playthrough, I'll only be focusing on things that differed from the first playthrough or that I found interesting along the way. For starters, let's discuss that egg move option. Among what's available to us, I see a single move that's going to completely change how this run goes. Ancient Power. Forget the 10% chance to boost all of our stats. That's some rock coverage right there, which we desperately needed. I've switched to a serious nature, still neutral, but it's serious time. On the way through the forest, I make a call to defeat Bugcatcher Charlie. He's quite easy, and we need to level up to 8 in order to have any success against Brock. With Razor Leaf on our side, Brock absolutely melts away, and in Mount Moon, I'm defeating an extra trainer or 2, evolving into Bayleaf. The goal is to once again defeat Misty and level to 20 before Rival 2. I, of course, make sure to grab the Dome Fossil on the way through. Sorry, Helix fans, we're another 2 weeks out from another Blue Runner. I defeat Misty, almost leveling to 21, heh, might have overdone that one, and then we're ready to face Rival 2. This is the first battle where Ancient Power is going to make a significant impact for us. We absolutely carve through Pidgeotto, though it is a little disappointing that we aren't one-shotting. Even more disappointing is that we don't one-shot Charmander, putting him into Blaze range instead. His Stab, Blaze boosted, super effective Ember also scores a critical, resulting in our first reset. Well, nothing to do about that. This time, on the first turn, we get that Omni boost from Ancient Power, increasing our attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed by 1 stage. Yep, we win this one. The starters all have similar abilities: Overgrow for the grass types, Blaze for fire, and Torrent for water. When below 1/3 HP, it boosts the power of our respective grass, fire, and water moves by 50%. It's super nifty, but I find it really tough to pull off in solo runs. That was a much easier Rival 2 battle. Let's keep moving. On the way south to Vermilion, I'm also going to be grabbing our army of Meowths. That's right, both an Egg Move and Hidden Power will be rounding out our coverage in the second run. Let's just say it goes better. We've gamed our rock coverage, so can you guess what typing I went with for Hidden Power? On the SSN, we're ready to face Rival 3, where once again, Ancient Power is doing great for us. Having a super effective option against both Bird Brains and Fire Lizard is helping so much. Rival 3 falls easily after another Omni boost while facing Charmeleon, but honestly, we were fine without it. I then defeat Lieutenant Surge, getting another Omni boost, but on the last turn of combat, and continue along the exact same route as last playthrough, evolving into Meganium once again against Hiker Dudley. That's 2 videos in a row where Dudley has been pivotal. An evolution in this video, and learning Swords Dance in Farfetch'd last week. Let's get stuck into that mid-game. We follow the same route through the first section, but this time I'm going to be teaching Return much earlier. As much as I enjoyed the paralysis chance with Body Slam, I felt like the consistently higher damage output was more valuable. I'm also making sure to grab a few extra items like the PP ups in order to have Ancient Power be that little bit more flexible for us. While facing Erica, we get our second reset of the run. We get to her Ace Vileplume at full health, but she lands a Stun Spore. Victory Bell consumed our Cherry Berry, so we're stuck with it, and between 3 turns of not being able to move and a critical Stab super effective Acid, we fall. Erica falls on the next attempt, and then Ancient Power continues to solve most of our rival problems. After clearing Pokemon Tower, we're gonna be stuck in that section that caused a ton of problems last run. We're stuck facing Koga into Blaine, or dealing with Charizard. In Sylph, I'm only grabbing the rare candy on 10F and proteins to focus on our attack. At level 41, we're not quite ready to face Rival 5, so I dip out instead, maxing our vitamins at the department store so we can start our grind. Of course, while we're here, I'm grabbing all of the screens again. I didn't end up needing all 3, but oh well. I actually skipped straight down to Fuchsia City going into the Safari Zone to grab one last protein. Vitamins cap your EVs at 100 out of a potential maximum of 255. That's why I grabbed this before our grinding, and then it's time to start, focusing primarily on attack EVs and XP density. By the time our total EV points cap out, I managed to get a total of 170 in attack, with my secondary investment going into speed. Not super necessary, it turns out, but my strategy ended up shifting slightly from what I originally intended to do in this run. The initial idea was to have enough speed to be able to freely lose one stage of speed later. Koga is still nasty business, especially since my moveset is that little bit more restricted this time with wanting to keep more moves around. As such, once we've leveled up to 45, it's time to face Rival 5 instead. Pidgeot goes down in 2 shots, but it always was the Charizard that made life difficult for us. Ancient Power has been super effective against his ace so far, but now that he's a 3rd stage Charizard, the Fire Flying type will be taking 4 times damage from AP. When we were last in Sylph at level 41, we just barely didn't have the damage to one-shot him. Hence, the grind. Gyarados still takes a chunk out of us at the end of the battle, but we're successful. I then defeat Sabrina, but that leaves our only progression option as Koga. He's honestly tougher than last time because I don't have the options for screens plus recovery this time. Instead, after a little bit of additional grinding, I've replaced Synthesis with Safeguard. Strange choice, you may think, but honestly, with my poison luck, it gave me the best chance. I set it up turn 1, soaking a smoke screen or 2 along the way. I have a Citrus Berry equipped because as long as I'm smart with Safeguard, I should be able to avoid poison. Smoke screen, though, is an unfortunate reality here without grinding high enough to one-shot coughing. This battle is tight, to the point where we can't miss too many moves, and in this first attempt we take too much damage before wheezing. Between 2 crits and the odd self-destruct causing us to take too much damage along the way, we end up resetting 3 times here, but that's just how it goes. I didn't even need to get lucky, I just needed to not get unlucky? Double negatives are totally different from single positives. Actually, I feel that really is true. Negativity begets negativity. Stay positive, everyone! Since I couldn't one-shot coughing anyway, I was constantly fishing for an AP boost, but ended up not getting one throughout all of these attempts. Finally, we make it to Wheezing in decent health, berry intact, and that's all she wrote. Oh goodness, next is Blaine though. But not before more grinding! These fishermen are stacked with Goldines and Seekings for a ton more attack EVs. I'll post the splits up later, but despite the additional grinding we've been doing in this run, we're currently 20 minutes ahead already. We're even doing more grinding in Blaine's gym, defeating all of the trainers on the path to him. In the Blaine battle itself, it's very similar to last run. I have a Rostberry equipped this time, thank you Meowths. AP one-shots his lead Growlithe and Ponyta, then setting up our screen against Rapidash. I did test this, and with the screen up barring a critical, we're fine for the remainder of battle. Especially if Meganium decides to beast out 2 critical hits in a row, completely flattening Blaine's biggest threats. Killer. That leaves 1 badge. Do you want to know the problem with that though? My poison luck. Giovanni was such a free battle last run that I didn't even consider having a Pecha Berry equipped here, so Nidoqueen ends up getting us with Poison Point. Again. If I had just gotten 1 more turn here, we would have been victorious, but at the end of the battle, as is Ace Rhyhorn, that's always gonna make me laugh, the poison damage ticks and we faint. Frustrating. In the next attempt, I don't get poisoned and we finish the battle in green health. Go figure. That's the gym challenge wrapped up. Let's finish Rival 6 before we talk about the leagues. We once again absolutely beast our way through Rival 6 with the battle going almost identically to Rival 5 and Silphco, with the exception that we boost against Charizard and for a little bit of wasted seconds, let's call it swag, another boost on the last turn of combat against Gyarados. I really don't have much else to say in this battle, but the rival was easily one of the most difficult trainers to overcome throughout the entire first playthrough. Coverage, options, that's all I needed. After even more grinding in Victory Road, it's time to go pick up the last piece of the puzzle. This is the change in strategy that I'd mentioned. Wanting to keep AP restricts our moveset so we can't lean into Sunny Day Solar Beam Synthesis like last time. As such, the solution for the incredibly tedious Round 1 League is good old Substitute. Substrats, best strats. For a solo runner, it eliminates so many problems, mostly surrounding status conditions. Let's do it. Round 1 was decidedly the more challenging league. Substitute is going to start helping us right away in this first battle against Lorelei. Well, it would have anyway, but Dugong crits with Ice Beam right off the bat. Go-Go Gadget Razor Leaf? Come on, crits. Come on, more crits? Nope. Anyway, what I was saying is that Substitute helps us right away. I set up one against Slowbro because Slowbro loves to yawn. Getting put to sleep is something that I really can't afford in this battle. It carries enough risk that if we slept for even 2 turns, things could go very bad, very fast. I continue sneaking in AP where I can, hoping for more boosts, but no dice. We don't need them, but there's something so deeply satisfying about getting that Omni boost. Against Bruno, I'm going to continue using Substitute, first against Onyx to guard our speed. We could afford to lose a single stage against Onyx, which leans into that planning that I talked about earlier, but the reality is that without Solar Beam, we can't get one-shots. Losing 2 stages of speed would not be great, so I use my decoy to guard. We work through to Machamp, where I'm actually going to drop another decoy. This blocks his Scary Face, which, believe me, is important. Machamp can lay down some pain, and in testing if we were slower than his final Onyx, he had the potential to end us. Not with Substitute, though. Nah, because I'm an adult. Substitute is going to continue doing great things for us against Agatha, eliminating all of her poison, confusion, sleep, and intimidate baloney. Before the battle, I fed Meganium a total of 9 rare candies, leveling up to 75. This was entirely for damage ranges in this battle, as despite Substitute giving us an edge, there's no denying that more turns in battle equals more risk. Our first turn against her Ace Gengar takes it just under half, triggering her Citrus Berry. That was important. Our Razor Leaf then drops her into KO range, but keeps her outside of healing range, with another AP finishing the job. That was the biggest hurdle for Agatha. Substitute carding against Arbok's Intimidate was arguably the most impactful thing that changed this battle in our favor. To correct one thing, leveling to 75 wasn't for Agatha. I could do that battle with quite a bit of consistency at level 73, but then against Lance we would be just short of dealing the damage we needed, so in order to not waste experience points, I simply used the 2 additional rare candies before Agatha. We're always taking an Intimidate here, and 75 gives us a very favorable range to 2-shot Aerodactyl. That 2-shot was the difference between success and failure. We could have survived, although it would have been tight, 1 shot from Dragonite, but he chooses to go for Safeguard instead. That leaves us with more than enough health to put up a decoy against Dragonair because I am not getting paralyzed at this point, and then we can finish the battle. This was another battle where my margin of error was super thin, but we're successful once again. It's time for the Round 1 champion. We cannot one-shot Bird Brain, so the safe play is to use Substitute again right off the hop to avoid any potential Sand attacks or worse, Feather Dance. Getting hit by Feather Dance is an instant reset. The decoy soaks up 1 Sand attack along the way, and then just like against Rival 6, we one-shot Charizard with AP and get the Omni Boost. Awesome! It's then an easy smash fest through his next 3 Pokemon, but against Gyarados I started getting nervous again. It must be nice to sit there using full restores like a big lamer while slowly whittling down my health in the process. My goodness. Our encounter with Gyarados takes us from 75% health down to 25%, but thankfully, with Meganium's bulk keeping us firmly in place, there goes the battle. Alright, so with the more challenging Round 1 league out of the way, it's time to consider Round 2 and gaining access to Swords Dance. As I'm sure you all know, there isn't much better in this game than Substitute with a boosting move. Meganium clocks in with a Round 1 time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 53 seconds at level 76 with 7 resets. This took 4 hours and 52 minutes of game time. I would let you know how much time we just saved at the end of Round 1, but I feel like that's gonna ruin the ending. I'll just say that it was significant. The only change to discuss between leagues is that I did not go for Iron Tail this time. I have better options. Heck, just having any other option is better than Iron Tail. Let's check out Round 2. Nothing much has changed in the Lorelei battle. Our moveset is now Return, Ancient Power, Swords Dance, and Substitute. That's going to be changing throughout the league, but this set is more than capable for the first battle. Dugong is setting up its evasiveness while I set up to +4 with SD, and then sweep her team. Our biggest risk in this battle was missing against Dugong too many times, which honestly was fairly unlikely. That's an easy first victory. Before starting the Bruno battle, I replaced Return with Earthquake. I really wish that Mold Breaker existed in Gen 3 because all I want in the world is to smash Agatha's ghost with EQ. Ah, such is life. I use Substitute against Steelix right away, once again guarding our speed from Rock Tombs while we set up to +4. +4 EQs can then tear a path through Bruno's team. No resistance, no problem. Against Agatha, I'm gonna do something that nobody expects. I set up a decoy, and then to +4 with SD, and sweep her team. The reason that I'm going to +4 in every battle is that it guarantees the one-shots. This is primarily for safety, but also carries the benefit of saving time. I feel like this is the least amount of turns that we can possibly take in this battle. After all, these second playthroughs are all about going as fast as possible. Down goes Agatha. After that, Earthquake is pretty much useless against Lance's battle, and I haven't brought up Hidden Power in a long time. I chose HP Flying for the Champion battle, and since EQ was pretty much useless in this battle, I taught it here. I'm talking about the Champion instead of Lance because round 2 Lance is easily cheesed with Substitute. Gyarados becomes as threatening as Magikarp behind the decoy, setting up to +5 this time. So different! Because of the Intimidate +3 was not enough to get the one-shot, so 1 extra turn against Gyarados seals the rest of the battle. The final member of the Elite Four has fallen. It's time to face Meganium's final opponent in the game, the round 2 champion. With Ancient Power giving us plenty of coverage throughout most of the game, my Hidden Power type choice was actually quite free. What was the next biggest threat in the game after the Fire types? Heracross. 4 times super effective HP Flying eliminates that problem right away, bringing out T-Tar. Before the battle, I used 2 rare candies to level up to 83 for the range here. I've also now deleted Substitute in favor of Giga Drain. I set up 1 SD, then 2 Giga Drains bring down the Gen 2 Pseudo while affording us some recovery. 4 times super effective Ancient Power, then rocks Charizard's world with HP Flying, then one-shotting Alakazam, and definitely Exeggutor next. That leaves us with 1 opponent left, Gyarados, who refuses to go down again. In hindsight, I should have set up 1 additional SD after the Intimidate, but I eventually snag 1 during his healing loop and end the battle. Substitute may have seriously carried another league for us, but I'm happy that I was able to swap in Giga Drain at the very end there. It felt nice to have at least 1 stab move still. Meganium clocks in with a round 2 time of 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 21 seconds at level 83 with 7 resets. This took 5 hours and 50 minutes of game time. Let's check out how much time we managed to save between runs. It was significant, mostly on the back of Ancient Power. Even with the touch of additional training before Brock, we were saving time right away, with the major saves starting to reveal themselves around the 5th badge. We ended up completing the gym challenge just under 27 minutes faster, but by the end of round 1, we were almost 52 minutes ahead. This culminated in a total time save of 58 minutes and 15 seconds at the end of round 2 at the same level with 88 less resets. My biggest hindsight with this run was the grinding. I only used 11 rare candies, so I could have cut out some of that pre-league grinding, instead grabbing 2 more rare candies from the region. On the tier list, this places Meganium just ahead of Pinsir. Part of my early plans for 2024 is reworking a few of these graphics, and the tier list needs work. The Versus runs will remain because they used egg moves, but the other solo runs will need to be re-ranked over time. I am here for it. I want to extend a special thank you to those of you generous enough to support the channel financially. Your support makes these videos possible, so I can continue putting all of my effort into producing this content for everyone out there to enjoy. From the bottom of my shell, thank you so much. And thank you for making it to the end of the video. That's gonna be a wrap for Chikorita. If you feel like I've earned it, make sure to leave a like and comment about the run, what you'd like to see in the future, or just to say hi. Greetings. If you want to keep up with my future releases, be sure to subscribe and enable notifications to never miss a video. After all, substrats, best strats. Next week, we're continuing with the Gen 2 starters, focusing on the Cyndaquil line next. Also, on this Tuesday's upcoming stream, I will be playing Pokémon White for the first time in my life. That's gonna get messy. If I don't catch you there, I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, take care everyone.